Good evening, everyone. I say evening because I'm here in Abuja, in Nigeria, and it's 6 p.m. If you're joining from somewhere else, I say good morning or good afternoon to you. And again, welcome to episode 7 of the Data Digest. If this is your first time, our Data Digest program is essentially a series of webinars where we host data professionals, those that have experience collating, analyzing, visualizing data, and where they get to, it's an avenue where they get to share their learnings, their hacks, things that will be useful for both you and I in our workflows. In the past, we've hosted people that have talked about, data visualization or hacks in Power BI, in Excel. We had one on Git and GitHub, right, for version control. And the episode before today's was on Google BigQuery. However, today we'll be talking about how to build a data analytics portfolio. And our guest today is Fatai Sunny. We have been very good friends, I would say virtually, and it was good to catch up with him for the first time a couple of days ago. And I hope that we're actually going to see each other later this year. There's this Data Fest program that will be happening in Lagos in October. So Fatai comes with a wealth of experience in SQL, in Microsoft's Power Platform, talking about from Power BI all the way to cloud data products like Azure services. And, without taking too much of your time, again, I am going to pass it on to Fatai, right, who is the star of today's program. So Fatai, can you hear me? Are you there? I can see you have your...
Yes, I'm here.
All right, awesome.
Good evening.
Yeah, please take it away. Good to have you here.
All right, thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be here to share with amazing people. I'll just be sharing my screen in just a moment. Please, 1 second. Let me share my screen. And then we'll just take it away. Please let me know when my screen is visible.
I can see it.
Okay, you can see my screen very well. Thank you very much. Once again, it's such a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. I know that some people are joining from outside the shores of Nigeria, so I greet you all. And then welcome. So to resume today, I'll be handing over to our captain, who is going to take off this flight. So over to him. So I'll just do something like, good evening, welcome on board this flight D3650. I'm Captain Fatai, and I will be your pilot for today. We'll be taking a journey on how to build a data analytics portfolio. And this flight will be for just about an hour. I will be cruising at an altitude of 150 words per minute. In the event that the cruise speed becomes too fast or too slow for you, please use the chat window to ask me for any questions. There will be no food served on this flight, but be rest assured of maximum knowledge satisfaction. Please remember to fasten your seatbelt, sit straight, and do away with all distractions. It promises to be a very enjoyable flight, and then have a safe one. Okay, that was just on a lighter note. Okay, so I'm always this very excited anytime I have to do something like this. So let's just get right into it. I know we have about an hour, so we'll just try to make it very, very smooth. Okay. Right. So today we are going to be talking about how to build a data analytics portfolio, and then how we're going to be talking about so many things. First of all, what exactly is a data analytics portfolio, right? How important is building a portfolio for your personal project? How important is this? Who really needs a portfolio, right? And then what are some of the samples of some of these portfolios that that we can build as a data analyst, because there are different types of portfolios, right? And how can we build one that is more tailored towards being a data analyst, and how can we leverage on this to better set ourselves apart? Then, so what should you really include in your portfolio? We'll also be talking about this. What are some of the top platforms that you can use to host your portfolio, right? Where do you even get data set? There are a lot of questions about where do we even get data to build a portfolio project, and so on and so forth. Then what kind of projects should you really, what kind of product should you build? And then we'll be having a short demonstration of maybe just try to build, do a very quick one where we build one or two portfolio projects, okay? And we'll try to make all of these very, very short and smooth, and very interesting at that, okay? So like I said, please, if at any time I'm too fast or too slow, please call my attention, and I'll be more than happy to address all concerns. Okay. All right, then, so let's go. Please, I have my chat open, and then please drop question, comments, and then I'll be happy to take that once we are done. So what exactly is a portfolio, right? And what if I'm as a data analyst, why do I even need a portfolio, and what exactly is this portfolio that we are talking about in the first place, right? So an online portfolio, or maybe you want to call it a digital portfolio or an e-portfolio, or whatever portfolio you want to, or however you want to address it. So it's an online representation of your work that you have created, as well as the skills and experiences that you have acquired, right? So this could be in form of a website, a blog, or even a video channel. It could be, just think of a portfolio as somewhere you put every project or every representation of your skills or your experience. So you put all of this together and you put it on one single repository, right? So that essentially is a portfolio. So a portfolio websites are very easy to build, and it's, let me say, it's an easy way to promote yourself or your brand, or even your business, if that's what you want to promote. So it helps you increase your visibility to clients, to managers, to employers, and it helps people to also find you organically. So think of it as a digital business card, and an all-in-one accessible and shareable, will I say, site or repository that every single person that wants to connect with you can have access to. Okay, so that's that about the portfolio. So let's just talk about what exactly is the importance of a portfolio, and why do I need it? Okay, so first off, a portfolio stands you apart, right? I mean, we are in an industry where a lot of people are coming into the industry. Organizations are more than ever trying to get people on board, looking for talent, sourcing for talent and all. So there is a lot of pool in terms of talent, right? And how do you stand apart? How do you set yourself apart from all of the people vying for the same position or looking for the same opportunity that you're looking for, right? And that is where a portfolio comes in. It helps you stand apart from the competition, right? A portfolio also serves as a repository, just like I've said. So you've built different projects, right? You've built as a data analyst. We're still going to talk about that. You've built maybe your data visualization project. You've built your SQL projects, or you've built maybe any of your ML, AI, or whatever project that you have. So having them on a portfolio serves as a repository where you can practically keep all of the good stuff that you have done in one single place, right? And you don't have to maybe send your audience everywhere if they need to interact with you or they need to see what it is that you have done. It's also a very good way to create a good first impression. So imagine if someone reaches out to me to say, oh, we consider you for this particular position, and we just want to know maybe what you have done and what you have built in the past. It makes the job a lot more easier for me if I'm able to just say, oh, this is what I've done. Can you just go through this particular portfolio website that I've built? I mean, it creates a list of all the things that I have done. And now that breaks the ice a lot, because I only now need to convince maybe the recruiter or whoever that person is about my other skills, but are not essentially about maybe my technical competence and so on and so forth. So it helps to break the ice. And even for some people, a portfolio is enough to get you hired, right? There are some people that have practically gotten jobs based upon people just seeing their portfolio of what they've done, and then they just send them an offer. No need for interview, no need for complex conversation before you come on board, right? And that is exactly what a portfolio can do for you. It helps you, it gives you a great first impression. It also includes your visibility and online presence. So you're a data analyst or a data scientist or a data engineer, and you're looking to increase your reach. You're looking for people to see you, to see what you have done, and to see what you have, how you've contributed to maybe one project or one open source project or the other. Having a data analyst portfolio or a data analytics portfolio is a very good way to increase your visibility. All right. It also serves as a digital CV, right? So I suppose in addition to your maybe your LinkedIn or maybe your other virtual presence, having a portfolio serves as a digital CV for you. So you have all the things that you have done in one single platform that you can share with recruiters, or you can share with managers or anybody as on demand. Okay. So that is that. So who needs a portfolio? Who is a portfolio actually useful for? So different talents or different professionals across multiple industries can use portfolio for different purposes. And some of the people that use or that have portfolios could be marketers. So you're doing maybe prints or design jobs. You want to show your skills regarding how you've helped maybe people in the past demonstrate, or how you've helped people in the past and maybe market their digital products, and how you've created this this value, and how you've helped them achieve maybe a sale or what's one thing or the other. So right, so as a digital marketer or whatever, you can make use of a portfolio. Also as a web designer or a web developer, I think most people this is something that is very easy for people to comprehend with, is that, I mean, if I'm a web developer or a web designer or a website designer, I want to be able to say, oh, I've built this website, I've done this, I've done that, and I want to have a portfolio website where someone can practically go there. And I'm sure that would have all seen this maybe at one point or the other, right? So as a web designer, I need a portfolio to show this is what I've done. I can work with these languages, I can integrate with these APIs, and so on and so forth. Also as a graphics designer, right? I mean, this is the one that maybe most people also see. As a graphics designer, as a UI UX designer, you have different platforms like Behance, and a host of other ones that you can use. So they have all these, the style is built in such a way that you only need to upload your portfolio or your projects, and then it serves, that web interface serves as a link for you to share with anyone that wants to hire you or that wants to see what you have worked on. And then, so our main focus of the day, which is as a data analyst, you also need a portfolio, and this is where we are. This is what is going to be the focal of or the focus of our conversation today, because the way you approach all of these portfolios are different, right? As a web developer, I need to design I need to design my portfolio from scratch. So I need to, either I'm coding it in, I don't know, in Java or in TypeScript or whatever. I need to actually build that from scratch, because that is what shows my skills, and that is what I use to demonstrate my skills. As maybe a graphics designer, for instance, I need to have maybe designed different projects, and then I put them on maybe on Behance or on any other platforms, right? As a creative, maybe you are a photographer or you are a videographer or something. The way you design your portfolio is a little different from how a data analyst would design his portfolio. For maybe like a photographer or a videographer, for instance, optics is very good. So you want to have maybe a blog style platform where you just put your best pictures or your best video editing jobs, and then people get to react to that. But as a data analyst, the way you go about building your own portfolio is a little different, right? You're not going to worry about designing or coding your portfolio website from scratch. You already have this project somewhere. You just need a platform to link to where all of these projects are, right? And that is technically all that you need as a data analyst. So we'll just be going through how to do this, and then we are going to fine tune this and get to understand what exactly are these projects that I need to build, and what platforms can I use to host this project. I mean, and it's something that promises to be very, very exciting. So just to show, so this is some of the portfolios that I said. So these are more tailored towards, as you can see on your right, you have maybe a UI UX designer that basically shows, so he has a landing page that shows who he is, shows what he's about, and it shows the different segments, maybe in design, in branding, in product design, and even web development that it does. And then it just very simple one that just now shows how to contact him, and then his social media handles. I mean, we'll be talking about the essential elements in the portfolio or in the data analyst portfolio as we go ahead. The one on the left, you're talking of, this is also like a designer portfolio, and you can see that it's something that is very common in all of this. It's about optics, it's about how you show, because as a UI UX or as a graphics designer or as a web developer, you're more about the experience, you're more about how people perceive you, because that gives you the confidence. That is practically your job or your market, right? But a data analyst portfolio, right, is a little bit different how you approach it, right? You don't have to worry about maybe how the overall of how the whole website looks. You don't have to worry about maybe if you're writing your own code or something. You can very easily leverage on existing platforms that such that you can focus on your real skills or your own core skills, which is basically the projects that you have built. So don't mix the two. There are two different things, right? The projects that you have built, which are your own projects, and then the platform that you host them on, right? So I will be talking about these two as we go ahead. I'm just going to scan the chat here. Please, I just want to know if you can still hear me. Please drop a yes. If I'm too fast, please let me know. I have the tendency of talking too fast sometimes. I mean, people have told me that, okay, yes, I can see that. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so let's go. So how is the cruise? I hope we are cruising at a very good altitude, okay? All right.
Keep flying, so, Captain.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I've spoken about the different types of portfolios. I've spoken about who are the different people that needs a portfolio, who are the different professionals that will use a portfolio. But now we want to now have a more microscopic view into the data analytics portfolio itself, because that's essentially why we are here, right? What sets us apart and what should we include in our own portfolio? So that is what I'm going to be talking about next. So what should you include in your portfolio as a data analyst, right? This is not a very, this is not a list that is cast in stone. Please, of course, you're very free to add or remove or edit this as you like, but there are just some very key and necessary ingredients that should be in your portfolio, right? And that is what basically your name. Of course, you have to have a very professional looking image or a portrait, right? And having an about me session, which is something that is very important, a very maybe 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph statement that shows at a very high level who you are, what you're capable of, what you've achieved, and maybe what your interests are, right? And then we talk about, so now the case study project is where you now bring in the projects that you have worked on, because that's essentially what we want to look at here. And then you have to have a GitHub link, right, in your portfolio that basically maybe shows your GitHub, if you have a GitHub account, and then also your social media links, maybe your LinkedIn, your Twitter. I mean, I don't advise Facebook, so please don't put your Facebook. As a data analyst, you're not a growth marketer or something, so you don't really need your Facebook. So your LinkedIn, your Medium, maybe your Twitter, and please, if you're the type that maybe abuse Buhari or abuse the president or whatever, maybe you want to be cautious about including your Twitter. So if you know that your Twitter maybe is not optimized to professionals, right? So maybe you want to leave that out and just want to focus on maybe your Medium, or if you write blog posts, right? So you want to give a link to your maybe your blogs, or you want to put a link to your LinkedIn, you want to put a link to your Medium, and so on and so forth. Then very importantly, which is optional, is also client testimonials. So if you have done some freelancing jobs, or you have done some maybe some volunteer work, and people have testimonials for you, right? There's nothing stopping you from copying 1, 2 of that and putting it on your portfolio, right? And it gives you that credibility to work with other clients if they know that you have worked with other brands, especially that are similar to them, and then these people have very good things to say about you. Okay. So what are some of these platforms that you can use to build your own portfolio? Like I said, there are a lot of websites, or there are a lot of platforms that you can use to build your own portfolio. Like I said, you don't have to code your own portfolio from scratch. There are people that have done the heavy lifting for you. All you just need to have a repository for all your projects, and then your portfolio is just to link, or your portfolio website, or let's call it a landing page, is just to link to all these products. So you can do this on Disha, right? You can do this on LinkedIn, Linktree, I beg your pardon. So you can do this on Linktree, you can do this on Disha, you can even do this on PowerPoint. So if you're someone like, I'm just going to explain some of these ideas to you, right? So I have a PowerPoint slide. I've put in my maybe project in terms of images, and I've linked them. Maybe I've put a link into some of these projects on a PowerPoint page. I've designed it properly. I can put this particular PowerPoint on maybe on Google Drive, or I put it on OneDrive, right? And I share this to public for public consumption. What really matters is that once I share that link to any external party, they can just land on that particular page and see everything that I've done. So this website, your portfolio could be done with PowerPoint, could be done with Microsoft Word, could be done with Excel. You have to be creative to pull this off, but that is something you can do. You can even do it with Power BI. I know someone that have built, not Power BI to do the project, right? So he built all of the projects, now created one single page in Power BI or maybe in Tableau, right? And he puts his projects on that particular page with links to his direct website, right? This is something that is very, very doable. You can also do this on WordPress. You can do this on, post this on GitHub pages. So consider all of this as just platforms to host the projects that you have done. There is a lot There's a lot of other platforms, and the people will talk about Mix, people will talk about, I mean, there are a lot of all of these platforms. I mean, most of them are free to use, and this free version is really what you need. You don't need to pay maybe some dollar every month or every year to host your project. You've done up these projects, you've hosted them, maybe they are Power BI project, maybe they are SQL project, maybe they are programming projects or whatever these projects are, and you just need to link them on this platform. So it could be Disha, it could be Linktree, it could be on WordPress, GitHub pages, and all. You could even buy your own domain. I mean, the limitation with all of this is that you have a prefix, or will I say a suffix of their domain. So maybe you are going to have maybe something like Fatai-Sani at maybe disha.com or at github.com, or at maybe at wordpress.com or something. If you want to really take this bit to the next level, you can actually have your own landing page that basically speaks to your own domain. I can buy your own domain, and you don't have to. You can have something like fataisani.com or something. I mean, it's really that simple. I'm seeing a question here about if we can talk about the difference between a CV and a portfolio. I mean, I'll just quickly address this before we move on. So practically, think about a CV or a resume as a list of a combination of different things, right? In your CV or in your resume, you're going to have an about me section or maybe a career summary. You're going to have your educational background. You're going to have your educational achievement, what you have done, and a little bit about you. I mean, the CV is just a representation of you in terms of someone picking up your CV and understanding what you have done in terms of your career and your educational background up to that point. A portfolio is different. A portfolio is strictly about your technical competence or your technical skills. So if I say I am a photographer, for instance, I should be able to have on a CV, I'm not going to put all the pictures that I've taken on that particular CV. What most people even do is they have a CV, and on their CV, there is a link to their portfolio website. So if people want to see everything about their, if people want to see their technical competence, they just need to click on that link in their CV to now see, oh, this person has worked on a COVID visualization. This person has worked on built a machine learning model. This person has built a predictive model. In your CV, you can only explain what you've done, and how you went about it and what you achieved. But in the portfolio, in your portfolio, they're actually going to see what exactly it is you did, and they can have a better understanding of what you have done and your technical competence as it is. So that briefly is just the difference between a portfolio and a CV. So where can I get this? Where can I get data sets to put in my portfolio? Okay, so there are a lot of places to get data, right? And this is a question that beginners and maybe intermediate level professionals ask all the time. There are a lot of places to get data. There are a lot of places to get data for your project. So first of all is Kaggle. I mean, every single person on this call, I want to believe, knows Kaggle. There are projects there that you can actually jump on, get their data, and then use this to build your own project, right? There's also Google data set, their Google site data set. If you go on Google right now and just type Google data set, you're going to see a lot of data set that you can work with and you can use to build your own project. There's also all these cloud platforms like Azure, like AWS, like Google Cloud, right? All of these platform also have a lot of big data that you can use to build your own project. I was on the call last week where Rashid was basically walking us through how we use, how to make use of some of these data sets that are on Google Cloud Platform to build your project. So those are some of the places you can get data set, right? There are also, will I call them competition or challenges that you can join? I know of Maven Analytics, and I also know of Onyx, right? So these platforms puts forward maybe challenge style or competition style project from time to time that basically speaks to a case study of what the problem is, what we are looking to achieve, and what approach should you take, right? And that is how we should really look at the project. So project, I always tell people, it's not just about getting data and just do one abracadabra and just land on visualization, which is essentially what a lot of people do, right? There is a whole lot of questions that need to be asked. So okay, I think I'm going to get there, so I shouldn't really jump the gun. But essentially, if you're building a project, you should know what exactly am I trying to achieve with this project? What problem am I trying to solve? What approach am I going to take? And so on. And maybe analytics and maybe Onis at some of the platforms that I know that basically have this challenge style projects that you can work on. Now, there's also web scraping. So I'm going to talk about the my three favorites places to get the data set to work with. And first of them is local businesses around you. There's something about working with data that someone has put together. Most of the time, the data you see on all these platforms, they are clean enough. I mean, they've done the heavy lifting for you. You just pick that data and then you just do it. You don't really understand the problem behind that data. You don't understand what you're trying to solve. So it can maybe get you lost at one point or the other. But if you work with, for instance, your own, you pick a particular, maybe local business or maybe an online business or whatever, and then you go to them, you approach them to get their particular data, understand their problem first off, and get their data to solve it. I always make use of, make an example of maybe you have a supermarket around you. Maybe this supermarket open from Monday to Saturday, and then on Sunday they open from maybe 2 p.m. to maybe 6 p.m. or 10 p.m. How do you even know that? I mean, they don't even know that maybe that is the time that they are supposed to open, or when do they have when is their peak hours? And when do they make the most sale? Should they even be opening beyond 10 p.m.? Maybe 10 p.m. is when the sales is supposed to pick up, or maybe a supermarket that opens at maybe 10 a.m. on Saturday or 11 a.m. on Saturday. Maybe that time between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Saturday is when most people do their shopping before they start doing all their household chores, right? By getting the data of this particular business, you can actually help them understand their data. Then you're able to understand that problem, right? Collect their data and use their data to build your own projects. Now you've built a complete project end to end. You're going to have a lot of learning on that project itself than just picking any random data on the internet, right? Another thing is freelance projects. So if you've done any freelance work or any volunteer work, right, you can actually put this on your and these are some of the best ways to put together a portfolio, because a freelance project that you did or a local business that you worked with to help them analyze or predict or whatever they did, you own that project from end to end. You are the master of that project. So come rain, come shine, you understand the problem and you're able to work to a particular solution. And that sets you apart from using maybe like just any data set on the web. Another thing is web scraping. For those of us that are very good with maybe with Python and R, this is also a very interesting challenge. You can go on Twitter, for instance, and just understand maybe the popularity of all the flag bearers and the contestants for the 2023 election, right? Understand in terms of popularity, who do you even think is going to win? Maybe collect all the posts that people have done, how many times Peter Obi was mentioned, how many times Jagaban was mentioned, how many times Atiku is mentioned, and just do a popularity contest or something. Where is, I mean, aside from how much they are mentioned, which region do most of their tweets come from? Do we have more Jagaban tweets in the north? Do we have more Peter Obi tweets in the south? I mean, those are some of the things. So you can, that way, you've come up with your own problem, you've come up with your own data, and then you're able to walk to a conclusion and to a logical conclusion. I mean, from that, when someone see a project like that, they know that you know what you're talking about, and then they know that you're a master of of this. So it's not just about just grabbing a data set online on Kaggle or on Google and just do immediately. People just load it to Power BI or load it to Tableau. You drag and drop, and then you say you have a portfolio. I mean, that's not really how it works. So these are some of the ways to get data. I mean, there are a whole lot of other ways, but I mean, these are just some of the ideas that I have. Okay. So, so what should you include? What kind of projects should you include in your portfolio? I mean, this is not, there is no hard and fast rule here, but I always advise you should have at least 2 data visualization project. I mean, if you're for a data analyst, you should have at least 1 SQL project, and then maybe 1 notebook or programming project. So maybe if you're very comfortable with Python or R, for instance, so maybe you've done maybe 1 maybe customer segmentation analysis, you've done 1 churn prediction or whatsoever. These are things that you should put on your portfolio. I mean, you're free to move all of these numbers around, of course, but at least I always advise maybe 2 data viz projects, 1 SQL project, and maybe 1 Python or R project, or maybe you have 2 data viz project, 2 SQL project, and maybe 1 ML project or 1 statistical project, or I mean, whatever it is, okay? So these are some of the projects that you should include. Again, feel free to move this around as you wish. It's not a hard and fast rule. So now, what exactly, how should you approach a project? You know, right now, I'm still talking about the project. That is the projects you're building. I've not started talking about the platforms that you're going to host your projects on. Don't get the 2 confused, okay? So I'm still talking about the project, what makes for a quality project. All right, so you can feel free to take a screenshot of this page. I know that Mr. Garcia is still going to be kind enough to share this link with us, but please feel free to maybe take a screenshot of it. How do you even approach a complete end-to-end project? And I always say this, please, I want to digress a bit from maybe a project portfolio or anything. As a data analyst, if you're approaching any data analytics project or whatever, treat it as a core project, right? If you're going to be working in a team or a data analytics team, data analytics go beyond just drag and drop and building visuals, right? There's a complete life cycle of how a project is going to go, and the faster you're able to learn this, the faster you understand it, and the faster you start putting this into practice. This is how you're going to set yourself apart, and you're going to learn how a typical project works in a team. If you're in a team or in an organization and you run maybe multiple projects hand in hand, you're most likely going to have maybe a project manager or maybe a business analyst, and then there's a flow to how projects work. So you have to demonstrate some of this in your project. So a project basically starts from understanding what is the business issue or what is the business problem. I mean, there are different names to call this. So please, what is the business problem that you're trying to solve really? Or what is the business issue, right? You have to define the objectives, you have to gather requirements, you have to design or determine the appropriate method you want to use, you have to clarify the scope, and then you have to identify the deliverables, right? After that, you move to data understanding. You have to collect your data, you have to identify requirements, you have to determine availability, and so on and so forth. Then you prepare your data, you move to data exploration where you develop your methodology, determine the importance of the variables, you build your model, and then you access what's it called? You assess your model, then you move to validation, and then you move to visualization and presentation. You communicate your insights, you make recommendations, and so on and so forth, right? This is how you should typically approach a project. Don't just grab a data set and just build a project for the purpose of building that project. Understand the data analysis life cycle of a data analysis project end to end and put this into good use. For data science, you can start talking about maybe feature engineering, data modeling, and so on and so forth. But you can move this around as the case may be, but have a flow and build this like a core project, as if you're building a project and not just a task as it is, okay? And then also finally, I think that is it for the presentation. I'll quickly just move to show all some of the platforms and maybe show you 2 or 3 platforms to build this project within the very short time frame that we have.